What's up guys, this video right here is going to be a review of the ALG Defense EMR V3. Alright, so these rails, these ALG EMR rails, they have 3 different versions. They have a 0, that'd be 4, 0, a 1, a 2, and a 3. I think the 0 was the older, the original model. It had some proprietary rail mounting system on it. It wasn't key mod or M-lok. I think it was before those got real big. And the version 1 is either key mod or M-lok. And it had a smooth top. It didn't have any rail on the top at all, which would be good for like a competition gun or something like that you want to really wrap your hand around, but you don't really need a rail for a sight or any of that stuff. Like I said, competition, and you don't want to have to worry about it, you know, adding weight or cost or eating up your hand when you go thumb over. The version 2 was a little bit upgraded from that. It had a small piece of rail here, down here to blend into the receiver a little bit, and then it had another maybe 4 or 5 rail pieces up here machined into the front to house a front sight. And so in between there, between the back and the front rail piece, it was smooth just like the previous version. So like I said, if you like going thumb over, it's not going to, you know, cut your hand up on the rail. And it's going to save with cost because it's less Picatinny pieces they have to machine in, and it's going to save a little bit of weight because it's not quite as much metal on the top. And the rail that I have on this rifle, the 16-inch kind of recce style rifle, is the EMR V3. It's the same as the rest of them, except it has a rail all the way down the entire length of it, a full Picatinny all the way down the top. Well, I say it's just like the other ones, but it's actually a little bit different because the way they did the M-lok on the previous versions, I think it was, hold on a second, we got, yeah. So here's a V1 on my, this is a 10-inch rail on a 10.5-inch upper. So you can see on the top it's smooth. There's no transition for the upper receiver right here. It's smooth all the way down. It does have openings. I've got it covered with a little piece of the rubber M-lok cover just to protect my thumb from that gas tube, which is right up under that hole. On these, the M-loks are at, you know, 3, 6, and 9 side, top, and the other side. They're also in the in-between, like the 45. So it's pretty much a complete circular rail, but it has these little flat spots for the M-lok cut out all through the rail. The difference is between this one, like the 0, the 1, and the difference between that and the 2 and the 3 is where the M-lok is on the rail. So like I said, that rail had it at what say 3, 6, and 9, and then all the 45 degrees in between. This one, Alright, I'm going to stand up for the rest of the video because I had the brilliant idea of parking my truck right past an ant bed. So when I sat on the tailgate and was talking, the ants were crawling up my foot, which was sitting right in the ant bed. So anyway, let's get on with the review. Okay, so like I said, the M-lok on the other one, shadows and stuff. Okay, the M-lok on the other rail was 3, 6, and 9, and all the 45 angles in between. The M-lok on this rail is at, would that be 6 o'clock? So it's right across the bottom, and then instead of having 3 across here, like 1, 2, 3, there's only 2. So what they did was they put it in the offsets, so there's a little bit more space between, like Dave Matthews, you know, the space between. So there's a little bit more space between the M-lok. What I think they did that for was so you could put your light on the M-lok and have enough room to clear. At least that's what they said on the website, and I think it kind of makes sense. But anyway, that's the main difference, beside there being a full rail along the top, is where the M-lok pieces or slots are machined in. You're getting a few less rails with the EMR 2 and 3, but like I said, the reason I did that is so you could, if you want to go on the 45, you can move this light a little bit farther away from your front sight, because you know, they don't know what size bezel you're going to have or what kind of front sight, so they just give you a little bit extra room, which I think is kind of nice. But I don't think it's as big a deal now, now that M-lok's kind of the standard, because you know, a lot of the rails have them at the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, so it makes a right angle. And they make offset light mounts like Arasaka and some of those. They make light mounts that are made to have the mount at the 3 or 9 o'clock, and then, you know, kind of curve the light around with the offset mount. So, you know, it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of something they were thinking about when they machined the M-lok that way. All right, so another thing about these rails, if you didn't know, ALG is a sister company to Geisley. ALG is actually, I think his name's Bill Geisley. Yeah, it's his wife's initials, Amy Lynn Geisley, I think, so ALG. So yeah, they're not going to put anything out that's crap. Whatever they put out is going to have some thought to it. It's going to be machined very nice, and it's going to be engineered very nice. That being said, a big place, what I see a lot of companies, maybe they just don't care about it as much, or it's not that big a deal to them. It's the barrel nut, how long the barrel nut is. You know, this barrel nut, you can tell right here where the screws are, the barrel nut's about that long, about 2 inches long, because you know, actually right there, right before they start with the M-lok, or the that's M-lok, that's actually a QD mount for a sling, so that's another thing we'll get to. But the barrel nut is like 2 inches long on this, and when you've got a 15-inch rail, I got ants crawling up my legs. So when you've got a 15-inch rail, you're trying to keep rigid and trying to keep stable, especially for your sights. If you have a laser device on there, you want it to be rigid, so when you zero it, you know, it'll keep it zero. So the best way to do that is to have a long barrel nut, so you're having a long thing stabilize a long thing. You know, you don't want like a little A2 style, like the old Troy rails, Alpha rail. I've got one right here, awesome rail. I love the texture. I hate that it's not standard mounting like M-lok or key mod, so that kind of sucks putting stuff on it. But it's super lightweight. The rail itself is solid, but like I said, the barrel nut is a standard like A2 style barrel nut, so it's very short. And I just think this way of doing it is a lot better, because the barrel nut is circular, and it has grooves cut in it. So when you shim it, they send you shims to mount it with. So that way when you shim it, you tighten it to a certain foot-pounds, and then the gas block or gas tube can slide through whichever notch lined up with you know, your barrel when you tighten it. So anyway, I'll put a picture up so you can see the barrel nut, but you can see it's circular, it's got little grooves cut, and all that stuff interfaces very tightly with the rail itself. I actually took this rail off to mount this Surefire. I direct mounted it with a Proctor PLMD, the Proctor Light Mount Direct. It's just basically a little backing plate that locks into your M-lok. The screws come from the back and screw right into the body of the flashlight. But I had to take the rail off to do that, and good night, this rail was hard to get off. I'm talking about, I had to basically like clamp the receiver in and either like tap it with a mallet or like twist and pull. That sucker was not coming off, and that was with all the screws coming out. I mean, I guess I could have put some heat on it maybe and like opened it up. I know some BCM rails, put one of those on one time, somebody's gun, and it actually told you to heat the rail up with a heat gun or a hair dryer to kind of open up the metal so it would slide on the barrel nut. Now that's tight, that's what she said. But anyway, this thing is machined very tight tolerances. It's very well made. It's coming from ALG / Geisley. So, I mean, you wouldn't really expect anything less. The texture has some little grooves. I don't know if you can see those little grooves cut in there to add a little bit of texture. It's not a whole lot. It's actually kind of smooth. When you don't have any grip panels like these BCM M-lok grip panels, these things are awesome. But anyway, it's kind of smooth, so you know it's not going to cut, but it's not that grippy. So you're probably gonna have to add some kind of grip panel. But most people add those anyway because most rails are kind of smooth, especially with M-lok, just the way it is. I do have a BCM, the CAG kinesthetic angled grip. I have one of those on the way to go right here. I did have the M-lok hand stop. I took it off and put it on my 10.5 pistol. So I've got a kinesthetic angle grip coming to replace right here, just so I can have something to kind of put my pinky against, so I can line up right with that super bright flashlight. Yeah, it does have slots cut out along the top Picatinny, I guess to save weight, maybe air out that gas tube a little bit. And it's numbered. It's every 3 because it's got holes in it. Maybe you can see those numbers on there. So it is numbered with the, I guess, the T marks. If it's on the top, I guess it would be a T. If it's on the right, maybe a R or an L. I don't know. I don't have any quad rails, so I don't know how they do. If they do like top, right, bottom, or if they're all T marks. I don't know. I don't have a quad rail. But anyway, all the M-lok is machined very nice. All the holes are beveled around the edge. It's a really nice looking rail. It's clean. It looks well made. It's super strong. Like it's not going anywhere. It's got M-lok all the way down, almost to the end right here. It's got little half pieces right here. You know, because the barrel nut's so long. And right here, it's got built-in QDs right there at the angle. There's another one on the other side for you wrong-handed people. But I think that's pretty cool. You don't have to buy like a $20 or $30 QD piece to go on your Picatinny or mount in your M-lok, something like that. Most companies, they build a QD into their rail. It's not that hard. I guess they just drill a hole. I don't know. Some of them might have some kind of anti-rotation. This one does, so maybe they do a little bit more than just drill a hole. I don't know. But anyway, you can see kind of down the rail a little bit how the contour of the rail is. So yeah, it's not the lightest rail. I know some of the maybe the BCMs are probably a lot of the Midwest rails are probably lighter because they put the M-lok a lot closer together and they just have more holes drilled into the rail to make it lighter, make it maybe cool off or air out a little better. So this is not the lightest rail on the market, but I can just about guarantee that this rail is probably a little bit sturdier than those other rails that have all the M-lok and all the vent holes cut in it. So, you know, it's just a matter of personal preference, what you prefer. If you prefer a little bit more, you don't mind a little more weight, but you prefer a little bit more sturdy rail, this is going to be it. And another thing, the price on these things is excellent. I can't remember how much this one costs, but all of them are less than $200. I mean, a lot of companies have rails in the $150 to $200 range, so it's not super expensive like your Geisley rails, like $200 or $300. It's going to be way less than $200. This is a little bit more because it's got the whatever they call that desert dirt color or desert earth color or something. It's their flat dark earth. You can tell. I don't know if I have any Magpul flat dark earth on here. Like I said, this is BCM. The scope mount is a worn, so that's their desert color. You can see how it compares to that. The receivers are painted with spray can, rattle can paint. So anyway, it looks really cool. It's kind of a brownish gold color. I like it. It looks pretty clean. But anyway, the price on these is great for what you're getting. And a lot of times you can find them on sale. They have sales like for Halloween. They might have a Veterans Day sale. They definitely have a Black Friday, you know, Christmas sales. And even sometimes you can find them like blemished models. The one I have on my SBR is an EMR V3. It's a 10-inch. and it was actually a blim model, and it was like, I think it was less than $100 for that thing. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think there was a spot maybe right here where the finish, the anodizing, the black, however they make it black colored, it looked a little faded. Maybe it wasn't as thick in that spot, but you know, I don't really care. You can't really tell by looking at it. And to me, wear on a gun, you know, it's kind of like scars. They're, you know, stories or battle scars. I don't care. None of these are like safe queens. These are all work guns. Well, I don't use them for work, but you know what I'm talking about. I use the guns. So I don't care if it gets a little worn down or the edges get worn off. It's like the paint starting to come off of this where I grab it a lot right here by the mag well. You know, I don't care. A lot of people think that looks cool. I'm not going to do it on purpose, but if it happens, so be it. So anyway, this is the 15-inch EMR V3 in the dirt color, desert, whatever color. And here, and like I said, here is the EMR V1 M-lok in a 10-inch on a 10.5-inch AR, and you can see where the this A2 flash hider, how far it comes out. This isn't a 10.3, it is actually a 10.5. I know a lot of companies like Ballistic Advantage, Daniel Defense, they do a 10.3-inch barrel. So it's going to be a little bit shorter. You're not quite going to get the full flash hider sticking out. The shoulder of the barrel is going to be a little bit behind, but you know, unless you're running a suppressor that like clicks on, has a little gate that closes, it's not really going to matter. A lot of people think this looks cool when you get the rail, you know, a little bit past the shoulder of the barrel. Anyway, I'm one of them. I think it looks pretty good. I would have brought my 10.3, the SBR. It has a 10.3-inch barrel. I would have brought it. It has a 10-inch EMR V3, but you know, I got all these, and you know, I didn't want to bring too many guns, and I had to leave some at home for the wife anyway. So I brought these. They also have a lot of different colors. They have a gray color. I know gray is pretty cool these days. You know, Magpul, BCM, they're all getting into that gray furniture type thing. So they have a gray color. They have the tan, black, and I think purple even for the ladies out there. Or guy, you know, your guy, you can rock a purple gun, maybe competition or something. You just want to rock a purple gun, go for it. It's 2018, we can do what we want. Yeah, right. Alright, so to wrap it up, enough rambling. If you're looking for a solid, well-built, well-engineered, well-put-together rail that, you know, won't break the bank, the ALG EMR might be something you need to look for or look at, because, like I said, it's packed full of nice features and it's not going to break the bank. Anyways, if you like the video and you want to see a few more, go ahead and subscribe. If not, just at least watch one more while you're here. Click the bell, the little notification thing, that way you know when new videos come out. I'm trying to put them out once a week to help you guys out, make it a little more consistent. So click the bell, like, and do all the other cool guy stuff that helps me out.